everybody, it's Drybear. And as of this morning, 3 hotfixes have gone live in the First Descendant. This has probably have been their buggiest patch yet with the launch of Season 3. It has been so chock full of crashes, bugs, performance issues, lingering effects, deployables not being cleaned up, UI issues, items being dismantled and left as dummy ghost items in your inventory, all kinds of problems. So they're finally starting to tackle a lot of these and address them. So let's see what was in all 3 of those hotfixes and compare that to where the game is now, and then some things that we hopefully will get fixed in the very near future. Now, what is probably the most talked about issue on Season 3 has been the performance issue, especially in Axion Plains. There has been some major performance drops, people getting to the point where they're getting down to like 30, 20, 15 frames per second in Axion. So there were 2 changes in this patch that were very instrumental in the effect here, and the footage you see on screen is me testing this with Inez. I was able to find the crater mission, which I think has the highest density of dropships that you can get. It has a large number of dropships that constantly show up throughout the battle. So I tested it by leaving all the dropships alive and playing Inez, and also tried it by destroying the dropships. So here I intentionally didn't attack them, I left them alive. I just wanted to see what would happen. So what they did is they optimized the performance and destruction of Axion assault ships to improve in-game performance, and they optimized Inez's skill effects and item drop effect performance to improve stuttering in-game. And generally with these things, it's an ongoing battle to try and get the performance to be as good as it can be. However, I can say that after my personal testing, the FPS and the smoothness of the gameplay in Axion Plains, specifically with Inez and dropships appearing all the time, is noticeably improved. Like a lot of the FPS that I would get normally prior to the patch seems to have returned with these changes. So it seems that confirmed the dropships were a major contributor to the degradation of performance in Axion Plains, and Inez was also one of those. It also seems that item dropped effect performance, it could be that the deployables on the ground that show that the items are there, like those glowing item drops, ended up being a big problem as well. So test it out after this hotfix, test it out, see how it feels. Try Inez, try dropships, try Freyna and various other characters, and just see kind of how it goes. You'll also notice I switched over to my rocket launcher, started blowing the ships up, and one thing you'll notice here from the footage as well is that the dropships, when they explode, it doesn't feel like a Michael Bay movie anymore. Like they kind of just pop, there's an explosion, and then they fade as they fall. So you see, like, you can actually see your screen isn't covered with explosion effects. It seems to be a lot more modest and a lot more reasonable. The ships kind of just hang, catch on fire, and then they pop and vanish with a small particle system that shows it. So it's a lot more performance and also a lot less visual clutter as well. So, it took a couple days, it took like a week for them, but they finally did it and it looks pretty good. Next, they made an improvement to the weather and time progression in Axion Plains. One thing that you guys should note about this, if you actually read the lore element for Axion Plains, it actually is a dried up ocean. It's supposed to be an ocean bed, like a floor bed inside of an ocean that got dried up. And that's why it feels so empty and barren and why there's water everywhere. However, what their original design for Axion Plains was, it's supposed to be, time of day and the change of the weather would help improve the replayability of it, right? Honestly, I get that we're in this like post-apocalyptic situation where the Colossi and the Void is kind of interfering, and the Vulgus are constantly plotting against our species and whatever. And I get that it's dark and evil, but after Sigma and now Axion Plains, I'm ready for like the Vulgus vacation episode. I'm ready for like a lush forest or like a bioluminescent cave or like something with a little bit more life to it, because this kind of dreary, dark landscape, I would say kind of is overstaying its welcome a little bit. But the weather system is supposed to help with that a good bit, showing like time of day, like dusk, dawn, afternoon, nighttime, having rain, no rain, clouds, overcast, things like that. However, the time progression of that was so slow that you end up spending a large amount of time in one weather set by itself anyways. So with this patch, they have improved the progression Axion Plains so it goes faster. So times in the Axion Plains now flow faster to showcase different weather conditions and time progression on the battlefield. So they're trying to make it so their whole point of trying to reduce fatigue of you seeing the same thing over and over, they've accelerated the time progression in Axion Plains. So pay attention to that as well while you're in Axion, and see if you notice the time of day differences, the lighting differences, and the weather differences. Now, if you haven't done the boost event yet with the bunny thing, they did some improvements on it. The boost event also was kind of a rocky launch in that it would force you into a normal bunny if you had ultimate bunny. There was so much setups where it would change things. It was broken a lot of times when it first launched, where like people would get a quest from the boost up event and be stuck on it and be unable to progress. So they've been addressing some of that with these patches. So they reorganized the guidance text in the boost up event screen to be more detailed. They improved the junk filter options, or I guess changed, let's say, instead of improved. They changed the boost filter options so that when you activate the boost up, it will change your junk filter options. So if you're in the new patch and you're wondering why your junk filter options are different, it's probably because you activated the boost up event, which changes your junk filter options. So you may want to change those back once you hit the patch and check in. They've also modified some of the text to be clearer, time indication to identify target items, difficulty indication to complete Sigma sector, modified quest tip for reach Descendant level and open amorphous materials, and they also modified shortcut connections for some quests to improve the performance. For the party creator screen, you can now target Orca, Vortex, or Voltia for farming if you'd like to. Those weren't options before, but now they are. Next, this is an awesome change. Weapon cores are now available as rewards for defeating monsters and completing missions in 400% and Sigma sector. So previously, the best space to get your weapon cores is going to be Void Erosion Purge. It probably still is, considering that you can get 10 cores to drop at the end of a maxed out normal level 10 Void Erosion Purge. However, now they've made it so that when you're doing Infiltration 400% as well as Sigma Sector on both difficulties, you will start dropping weapon cores as well, which is huge. I think, you know, at this point, considering the fact that the weapon core system and the Void Erosion Purge has been around for a long time, locking only to that for how important weapon cores are and how often you want to swap them, try new ones and roll and try to get better stats on it with new weapons coming out all the time as well. We really need a lot of weapon cores coming in, and realistically there's not much reason to slot any weapon core besides a weapon core 10. So realistically you can convert every other weapon core tier to a percentage of a level 10 core, right? So like even getting, you know, level 5 or level 4, or, you know, level 5 or level 6 or level 4 cores is only just a single digit percentile of a level 10 core, which is all you're going to slot really anyways. So having that kind of be improved is quite nice and will give us a little bit of a boost in the amount of cores that we're farming. Now, they updated the new Battle Pass daily challenges. A lot of them were quite excessive for the number of things that you had to do in a single day. Like, you know, I had to kill 5,000 enemies with a weapon or something like that. And it's like, for the amount that you need to do in a single day, for 6 challenges rotating every day, it was pretty rough to be able to do it. So they did reduce some of those for specific weapons, specific attributes, specific arcade skills, encrypted vault openings, squad rescues, commander defeats, and outpost completions have all been reduced to be a little bit more reasonable for them being a daily quest. Next, they buffed 2 of the trigger modules. The first one was Battering Ram, which just wasn't doing enough damage for what it actually was for, considering that you're building a build around defense, which means you're relying on the Battering Ram to do damage for you if you're relying on defense, for the most part, more or less. So they ended up increasing the damage of the Battering Ram quite significantly. So Battering Ram, the base tick of Battering Ram went from 188% to 376%. So pretty much double the amount of power that it was at before. And they added skill attribute resistance reduction to the defense decrease as well. So a little bit more shred on it, plus more damage makes Battering Ram a little bit better. And they also ended up buffing Arcade Leak as well. So they made it so that when you attack and lower your own MP, the amount of MP that you lower when you attack is less, but you still get the MP recovery that you had as part of it as well, which means it's a little bit less aggressive on the drain, but you still get the mana back as well. So both of those trigger modules getting a nice little cleanup. And of course, that leaves us with the rest of the just general bug fixes for this first one here. So they fixed an issue where you would not load a completed intercept battle map when going into Wall Crasher. I'm sure this has happened at least once to everybody, where you would load into Wall Crasher. It would either be a Wall Crasher that was already done, or one that was like near done, or one that was abandoned where people had given up on it, and you were being like filtered into an incomplete one, which is kind of annoying. They fixed an issue where incorrect reactor types were dropping from monster defeats in certain content. They fixed the boost screen would not automatically appear on first login. They fixed some missions that had some issues there. Fixed an issue where the Own Descendant like award, like Own Descendants with trigger modules unlock reward was counting the total number of Descendants instead of the Descendants with unlocked trigger modules. They fixed an issue with the Breach Spreader animating weirdly. They fixed an issue where removing the Carapace Hull from Abyss Scarab and Razor Claw using Dispel would not visually remove their shell. Fix an issue where Out of Bounds was too large in Axion Plains. Fix an issue where some missions were not counted toward the Mission Specialist Challenge. Fix an issue with Battle Pass reroll counters and Battle Pass XP not being earned. Fix an issue issue where the dimensional breach stabilization effect icon was not displayed. Text issues in the boost path. Fixed the complete infiltration operation hard quest of boost path. More boost path quest issues as well. Shortened time displayed on the results screen for mobile energy monitoring. Fixed an issue with the residential district mission in Axion Plains, where when it ended, it would just end for like good. Like you wouldn't be able to restart it. You could never, it would just like permanently break after one completion of that specific mission. So they fixed that one supposedly as well. Fixed an issue where selecting abort mission during a void intercept battle would trigger the Descendants death animation. Now I saw Descendants fixes and I was hoping for a fix to the sieve scan for Nell where it doesn't work right on Colossus, but that is not in here. They fixed an issue where her ultimate skill animation was not displaying correctly when used mid-air with Nell. And they fixed an issue where Kyle's superconductivity thrusters and superconductive bombing would remain stationary. They fixed an issue where the Battle Pass reward claim pop-up would appear when returning to Albion, even if you had already claimed the reward. This one was pretty annoying. So that one being fixed is quite nice. Glad that was a bug and not intentional. They fixed an issue where if you got an item in a bundle, the updated price wouldn't show up immediately in the store, especially in the popular tab. So if you got like Nell in the Nell pack, the price should reduce because you already own an item. It wasn't updating automatically. It fixed some issues with the Battle Pass Challenge tab, the Social tab, the Research Info and Set Target tab, and they also updated some of the buttons and key bindings for the Set Target as well to be a little bit less contentious, especially on console. Fixed an issue with voice sounds playing after loading or after completing a task, and where weapon sounds were intermittently not playing during void intercept battles. They added a sound effect when marking a waypoint so you can confirm that that happened. They fixed a crash instance. They fixed fellow skins. If you remember with season 3 when it launched, everyone lost their configuration for fellow skins and they couldn't update them. So they fixed an issue where fellow patterns and body skins were reverting to the default when reconnecting to the game. They fixed the issue where if you opened a vault as Nell, it would play Enzo's voice lines. It was just misconfigured. So it should have a voice line for Nell now when it updates or when you open the vault there specifically. They fixed incorrect numerical values on the Moving Fortress set. They fixed an issue where players would no longer die when moving out of range after interacting with the drone in the Invasion Order of Truth, and fixed an issue with some dismantled items occasionally being displayed in inventory. I've heard some people saying that this is actually not completely fixed, but remember they did change it so that if you activate the boost up event, your junk filters have been updated as well. So when you log in, you may have different junk filters than you expect. So it's possible that this is fixed, but the reports we're getting people saying they're still getting dummy items not being dismantled in inventory might just be because of the junk filter change. So maybe check on that. But if you have the correct junk filters and you're still getting dummy ghost items in your inventory, then let me know in the comments. And separately, they released another hotfix. This is hotfix number 2. They fixed an issue where the Battle Pass weekly challenges were not refreshing for some specific Descendants. Then they released another hotfix on top of that one. So this one, they fixed an issue where the game would crash and the daily challenge would be lost when attempting daily challenge reshuffle. So if you were experiencing a crash issue with that, I think this one just came in with the other hotfix and then they fixed it. Then they fixed an issue where in certain cases, the daily challenges would reset upon reconnecting. So every time you reconnected, your daily challenges would reset. The next one is a spicy one. So some people actually benefited from this. I don't know if they're actually going to roll back the benefit or not, but there was an issue intermittently where people were getting, basically they were getting like 3 or 4 battle pass levels every time they completed a challenge or teleported. So there's some people that were getting 4 battle pass levels every time they teleported to a new map. And there were a couple people that just teleported between maps and got to max battle pass in a matter of minutes with this bug. And it looks like it has been fixed. So yeah, so if you were on for that time or decided that you wanted to use that, there it is. But some people were getting basically infinite battle pass levels from zoning over and over, but that has been fixed. Fixed an issue where daily challenges would reset upon reconnecting to the game after completing them, so they would come back again, which is different from this one up here. And they also made it so battle pass related rewards through the above issue until the pixel applies will be revoked. So if you got battle pass rewards from resetting your daily challenges, then they're going to roll that back. Details on that schedule will be announced in a separate notice. However, you'll notice that this dev note is not under this one here. So I'm curious if they're going to do anything about the free battle pass levels that people were getting. It's not really the end of the world, to be honest. It's not like the battle pass is hard to level, but it does mean that they got a little bit more boost than other people. So I guess we'll have to see if they end up deciding to post a rollback schedule for that as well. But they specifically note that if you got extra free challenge resets, which had infinite daily challenges resetting over and over, they are going to revoke the rewards from that. And we'll just have to see if they end up doing this for the bonus as well. So those are all the hotfixes that rolled out this morning. Definitely jump in and check to see if your performance has improved. I'm sure pretty much everybody had performance issues. Like, I have an enthusiast level content creator kind of PC, and I still had frame drops in Axion Planes quite excessively. So it has been greatly improved for me, and hopefully it is for you. And hopefully with the new bug fixes, the game is definitely improved, and there's definitely more things that need to be bug fixed. So hopefully they stay on top of that ball and keep rolling out new updates and fixes as well. And also let me know if there's things that you would like to see fixed. I hope they fix the Asive scan thing for Nell for Colossus sooner rather than later, because it is quite annoying. But in general, let me know if there's any thoughts you had on these. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.